Two Writers Talking Shit. Hey, Mel.
Hey, Saeed.
How are you doing?
Oh my God, pleasure to see you as always.
Pleasure to see you too. We are kind of causing a little stir on Twitter nowadays because the podcast is out and people aren't enjoying it. And so how does that feel?
You know, it feels amazing, actually.
They say we have chemistry, which is crazy to me. Right?
This is crazy because it's like I can barely stand to be in the same space as you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather text this show with you.
You know what's so funny is like, I think it's because people can't see my face.
Right.
You know what I mean? I have a face that can't lie.
I feel it when you look at me, though.
Yeah. With that chemistry-filled opening.
Yes. We have our guest, Niles Abston, right?
That's me.
Yeah, man. So let me get into quickly how we met. First off, he's on fucking Dave, which I don't understand how anyone gets on Dave.
Season 3, April 5th.
Season 3, April 5th.
Pull up on me.
Pull up on me, which is crazy. And so we met on Twitter. He was a fan of Flatbush, which is the show I worked on.
Amazing show.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm a fan of Dave. And I was like, what the fuck? So then we ended up Zooming. I saw his stand-up. He's a comedian. His stand-up was funny as fuck.
Thank you.
He had a set about how to get robbed in Oakland, which happens a lot.
Have you ever been robbed in Oakland?
No, but see, I'm from Oakland, so I kind of knew. Like, my spidey senses are very Oakland tuned.
That's crazy. I'm 1 for 1. I went once and got robbed.
What?
Man, dude. Yeah. Next time, just let me know. I would have told you.
I will.
There's a funny video.
That's what everybody's been saying. Like, oh, you didn't know? No, I didn't know. That's why the fuck I was there.
There's a funny video on it's like on Reel or YouTube or TikTok of like how to properly park in Oakland.
Wow.
And the properly way to park is by leaving all your windows open.
Oh, so because people are just going to break in regardless?
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah. Like when you're in Oakland, there's commercials on TV for like window replacements every second.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like they're making big money replacing windows.
I bet. They probably breaking them too.
Now that's a conspiracy we'll talk about on our Patreon.
You're going to have to pay.
You don't have to pay for this story.
Yeah, that's right.
But let's dive into it. Like, first off, what everybody wants to know, which I was gonna tell you, how the fuck you get on Dave?
How did I get on Dave? I really think my stand-up set me apart. In 2020 is crazy. On my birthday in 2020, my birthday is February 16th. So right before
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Just happened,
birthday.
yeah. Right before the pandemic, which I didn't know was about to happen, I taped my first special in my friend's living room because basically that's what Dolomite did back in the day. He recorded a comedy album in a living room, and I was like, I'm gonna do that shit.
Smart.
And so taped it, and then the pandemic hit, and I couldn't do stand-up anymore. So I was like, damn, I just have this whole hour of me doing stand-up. So I put it out summer 2020, and like one of the reasons I wanted to put out a special is because like I love stand-up, it's cool, but like I came out here to like make movies and TV shows. Mm-hmm. So I just felt like if they could see me do jokes for an hour, like why wouldn't anybody hire me to do jokes on a TV show?
Right.
You know? So that was kind of the goal, like to get a TV writing job. And 2 years later, I got a call that I literally packed up all my stuff and I moved to New York City just to focus on stand-up. Things weren't really going well writing-wise out here. I couldn't get a job. I probably interviewed at like 20-something different shows.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wait, you took 20 different staff meetings?
Yeah. I've probably interviewed over 25 from like summer 2020 to, you know, when they was giving black people pity meetings in summer
right.
2020 because
the George Floyd meetings.
George Floyd meetings.
I had those too.
Yeah. So I started getting meetings around that time, and then up until like 2022, just a bunch of like interviews for staffing. We love your pilot, but you're just not the right fit. Yeah, it's an interesting way to say the N-word, but yeah, so I had all those meetings, and I was just kind of tired of TV and Hollywood, and so I just wanted to move to New York and do stand-up full-time. And so I packed up all my stuff. I was there for 2 weeks, and my agent called me and was like, hey, the producers of Dave want to meet with you. Just it's a LA job, so if they ask you live in LA, lie and say you do. And I was like, shit, all right. And so I met with an EP on the show, and then I met with the showrunner, and then I met with Dave and Jeff Schaffer, all within like 4 days. It was very quick. And basically at the end of the meeting, they kind of told me I had the job. And basically, Dave told me he watched my special on YouTube.
Oh.
And like they had read my scripts and everything, but he's like, I saw your special on YouTube, and so like we know like you can deliver jokes. And they had me. It was crazy. Within that 2-day period, they had me come up with an episode idea and pitch them the episode.
Wow.
And
in those 2 days?
Yes. And so I wrote it down. I pitched that whole episode. to Dave and Jeff, and I kind of feel like I had like a kind of the edge on people because this season Dave's gone on tour. Him and Gator are going on tour for the first time.
Fire, yeah.
And literally, I just got off tour, so I had all these like stories and funny ideas for tour, and I just kind of put them in an episode idea, and I pitched it to them, and they loved it, and then they called me 2 days later and said I had the job, and now we're about to premiere the show. So
That's crazy.
Fucking wait a minute, like wait a minute. So what made you put your stand up on YouTube though? And you gave it away for free, right?
And I just did another one too, because the industry right now is not doing the best job of developing talent in stand up. Like all the people getting specials are either you're on a movie or a TV show or you were famous in the 90s, early 2000s, because they don't feel like people are going to go watch specials from people they don't know. And honestly, that just sounds like you're lazy and don't want to market it right.
Yeah.
And so I just figured like I was 24, about to turn 25 at the time. And I was like, they're not going to give me a special. So I'm going to just give it to myself. And it took off. Like I didn't have an internet following before that or anything. And it's what gave me an internet following. So then I was able to tour the next year. And that's how I got material for my new special that I just dropped in December. And I just put a second one out. So.
And that's when you got robbed in Oakland.
Yes. And that's how
I'm sorry about that, bro.
It's all good. It's a great
I
opening.
apologize for people from Oakland, man.
It sucked at the time, but it's a great opening joke for my special. So
that's what had me watch it. Like I was like, it said how I got robbed in Oakland. I was like, oh, I gotta watch this shit.
Yeah.
Now, what were the samples that the Dave producers read? Like, can you just sort of give us a bit of a log line for
So
those?
I wrote an animated show called The Niles Abston Show. And,
Nice.
Love that.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, my special that's out, I have an animated short film that opens the special.
It's dope. It's
And
dope.
it's thank you. It's basically it's the prelude to this pilot that I wrote. Because I just figured like it's a crazy show, and I feel like if I ever do get to make it, the best way to pitch it is like, well, just go watch this short film. It kind of tells you what the show's about. But it's an animated show about a young black comedian that gets a talk show at a network that's never had a black host before, and he's the first host under 30. And basically, the person that runs the network isn't like a typical like human person. He's like this like entity, he like controls everything. And so basically, he kind of ruins this comedian's life because it's just fun for him. And so the show's kind of a back and forth between the comedian and this like evil thing that runs the industry. And so yeah, I made an animated short about it, wrote a pilot, and that's the sample they read.
Wow. And so for the animated short, did you animate it yourself or you hired an animator?
No, I hired some friends. They have my friend Noah and Daryl and Jimmy. They have an animation company that's independent called ImagineX Animation. And they do a lot of freelance stuff, like they'll do like little 30-second shorts for like Adult Swim or Comedy Central, and they do like small or for marketing commercials and things like that. So I hired them and we made this short together.
That's fire.
Yeah.
It's interesting because a lot of the people that come on our podcast, they all have this same similar story, different ways of breaking in, but the same story of like investing in yourself.
Got to.
And being self-sufficient. So it's like, it's dope when you hear that because it's like, damn, you did all that. Like we talked before, it's like you damn near got to be delusional to do this shit.
Yeah, I'm crazy.
You're crazy. And so you went and had somebody animate your fucking pilot, put it up on YouTube for free, which is crazy because there's so many different levels. It's like, I ain't paying for no shit to get some shit done, and then I ain't gonna put it up on YouTube for free and all this shit. But all that shit led, and that's what I be telling people, man, like, you think it's small money. Like, you know what I'm saying? The $5,000 you spend on that, when you're in a room, you're making $5,000 a week as a staff writer.
And that's what I'm trying to get to.
Exactly.
You know?
And so that's how it was for me too. It was like the $5,000 I used for that program, end up, putting it on. So that's
it's been worth it because like I'm like really building an audience of like really cool people, and it's just like it's just crazy. Like I'll be with my friends, we'll go somewhere and somebody will come up to us and be like, "Are you Niles?" And my friends will be like, here we go. Like it's fun, but it's like I love it because like I put in the work to have those people come up to me like that. Yeah. And so it's I encourage everybody, like, be your biggest fan and like really believe in what you're doing.
Yeah. How many pilots, back to like on Mel's question, like that obviously wasn't the first pilot you wrote, right?
No. It's my favorite one though.
How many pilots did you write before you wrote that one?
Before I wrote that one, how many pilots did I write? Wow. Okay.
Estimation.
Let's see.
He's counting on his fingers. Since this is an audio medium.
I would say somewhere between 7 and 10.
Oh my God.
And so
that's a lot. Well, I mean, you're very...
A lot of them were bad though.
Well, they have to be bad to start to get good.
Right.
Yeah.
That's prolific though. But I mean, that's not surprising considering how young Niles is and how much he's done already.
Right.
It actually all adds up perfectly.
That's funny.
Okay, now I have a question.
Okay.
I'm a lady.
Yes.
You two are gentlemen.
Yes.
Now, on the television program, Dave, first of all, so funny, when I was single, this was like several years ago, I matched with Dave on an app.
Aww.
And like, I didn't know like that little Dickie was so literal. You know what I mean? I thought it was kind of like a funny me. You know what I mean? Like when I saw that pilot and he's talking about his mangled member, I said, my God.
Yeah.
Thank God. I never, it never went beyond that first swipe. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I said, oh, Lord.
You dodged a bullet.
You know what I'm saying? I can't.
A very small bullet.
With bad skin.
Yeah.
But
okay, here's my question. Okay, now you know how Dave has that, it's kind of like this sort of like, it's like a buttocks with like floppy legs that he penetrates. Mm-hmm. Is that an actual item?
The fuck me silly?
It has a name.
Yeah, it's called fuck me silly.
It's an actual item. You could just get. I mean, this is wild. But yeah,
he is a writer for Dave. This is material from his television show.
Yeah,
I think he's on season 2.
Yeah, I didn't write on that episode. But
okay,
that is
you're familiar with what I'm.
Somewhere.
So that's something men use. Is that
yes?
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily say men use that. I would say that
some men are obviously using it.
Some men are buying it
if it's available to purchase.
So funny how like it's a little bit like the lady doth protest too much. You know what I mean? The way he like came in like that, like.
I just wanted to clarify for the record that I don't use that.
Yeah,
because it was it was for me a lady like quite shocking, honestly, to see.
It was funny how he was like trying to hide it from the girlfriend.
Yeah,
that was
I know.
Hilarious.
The fact that she didn't break up with him like after that,
well,
I was
he
like,
likes the show, so.
And also,
that is the other thing about a dude having a TV show. The women you've dated in your life aren't EPs on the show.
But also, as like being here for 3 months, the horror stories that I hear about men from LA, that's not that bad. Like maybe she could live with that part.
Yeah.
At least he's open about it.
Right.
okay, I don't know why you're looking at me.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, it is available. Anybody out there that saw the show, you can buy it.
We'll link to it in the show notes.
All right,
they're going to give us a promo code.
Yeah, they're going to sponsor us.
What is it called?
What is it called?
I think it's called a Fuck Me Silly.
All right, Fuck Me
God.
Silly. We are looking for sponsorships for
the pod.
Two Writers Talking Shit.
Thank you.
Quick question.
What's up?
Mel is from Stand Up also. She's a very hilarious comedian.
That's dope.
But I want to ask you, do you feel like coming from a stand-up background helped you or hindered you in the writer's room?
Both.
Let's dig.
So stand-up helped with I'm able to come up with things very quickly, that kind of thing. But also with stand-up that hurts you, I feel like in TV and in the industry is like stand-up, things move very fast.
Yeah.
Like it's like, hey, I liked you on this show. Come do my show. Or I say something, they laugh. So it's just like instant gratification. Whereas like TV is like the way things move is just so slow and then also it's like with stand up, it's like you say something, people laugh. Obviously it's funny. Whereas with TV, it's like the funniest joke may not be what we need to get this dialogue across or this plot across. So that was kind of frustrating. My first month or so, just to be real, but that was the funniest shit. It made everybody laugh. What do you mean it's not gonna be in the thing, you know? But it's something you learn. It's kind of like, well, we have to. It's like it's an episode. Like we're trying to make this cohesive thing. So maybe always the funniest line of dialogue might not be serviceable for this, you know?
I agree. It's funny because in Flatbush, I was like, there are times where I'd be like, am I on a comedy show?
Yeah.
Because it's like so much drama shit we talking about. Like,
No, straight up.
And then they get the outline, and the network is like, well, where's the funny? It's like, because we were doing drama points for 3 days.
Yeah, you realize that so much more goes into it.
Yeah.
Than besides just being funny.
Especially dramedies.
Yeah.
You know, which I feel like Dave.
It's
and
very
Flappers,
much dramedy.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave has some episodes where like I liked the episode, but I didn't laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, I've shed a tear.
Yeah.
Like there are
It's a
parts
show
that
that'll
are
make you cry.
so sad, and not just about the buttocks. You know what I mean? Like, like real character issues.
Yeah, the end with his girl in season 1, and
made
the
me
song
sad.
came
Yeah.
on,
Oh,
bruh.
it made me so sad.
I was
sad.
like, man, this shit is fire. Like,
It's just it's a very good show.
Yeah.
And meeting him, I realized why it's such a good show. Like he's very hands on. He's in the room every single day. He's very open. Like he wants everybody to pitch. Like he really sets the tone where like he wants everybody to share. It's a very open, like collaborative room, which I've heard isn't really a thing in TV. I didn't know that. Apparently, like most rooms aren't like that. And he's very hands on, and like he just wants every detail of the show to be great. Like he knows everything about like every episode, and it's really cool. Like he's really creative and does a great job.
How many writers are in the room altogether?
I think we had 11.
damn, that's pretty big.
That is
We had a
big.
big room.
I think Flatbush, it was like 7.
7.
I think it was like 7.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: on a scale of 1 to 10, first day when you got in there, how fucking scared were you? Or nervous? Let me not say.
I was
scared.
nervous. I wasn't scared.
What was the scale out of 10?
I'd probably say at least a 7.5.
That's
I was
pretty good.
I was pretty nervous. Like, I'm by far the youngest person in there. I've never done this before, and then like I'm coming from mostly like a stand up background.
Yeah.
Where like there's
Give me the funny, boy.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like, all right, I gotta be on when I come in here, you know? So that was, and like you had, like there was people in my room that had been writing in TV since the early like 2000s, late 90s.
That's
like,
wild.
you know? So it was very much like, okay, well I want to like, one, impress people and show like why I'm supposed to be here. But then two, like you don't want to do too much, you know? So just finding that like fine line.
How did you prepare? Like, what did you do to prepare for the first day being in the room? Because there's a lot of
I rewatched the whole show again.
yeah.
Rewatched the whole show again, and then I asked. I have a lot of friends, you know, because like I feel like it's a show geared towards like my age demographic. So I asked a lot of friends that are fans of the show. I was like, well, why do you like the show so much?
That's smart.
I tell people that all the time. It's like, stop asking these people in LA about shit.
Yeah.
Nobody out here knows anything.
Yeah.
Everybody's up their own ass. Like,
Right.
talk to people that live in middle America, in the South, and like that places where people have real jobs that, you know what I'm saying? And like they go to work every day and they spend their hard-earned money on the things that they watch at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What do they like about TV? What do they like? And so I would ask friends, like, what is it about Dave that you really like? And a lot of it was just like the relationships.
Yeah.
And so that was like, okay, well, I'm gonna focus a lot on that.
That's smart. That's smart. It's funny because prior we were talking about, so like I got an episode I wasn't on set. It was COVID or whatever, and you know they don't care about writers. But
Yeah. No one cares about writers.
I know no one really cares about. So how was it? Because you told me you were on set. I was down there shocked. How was it on set for your episode?
It was so fun. Like getting to see it get made was crazy,
wild, bro.
And like I can't say who, but like we had a lot of guest stars on my episode, and so it was like I got to meet like some people I never would have thought I would have gotten to meet, and it's like, yeah, I'm writing the stuff you're saying today, and like,
Crazy.
you know. And so they were like, dude, like having like some like big time actor or celebrity be like, I love the script, man, great job. I'm like,
tight.
oh shit, this is crazy. But no, I had so much fun, and like I got to meet a lot of the people that like really work on the show. So like your gaffers, your PA. Like I made friends with, of course, like all the PAs because like we were like the same age and shit. Because that was the other thing. Like I walked on set and like I just automatically felt like people was looking at me like I was about to steal something.
Yeah.
And like I was
Man.
like, who are you? And I was like, I'm
wrote this,
Niles
yeah.
Abston. I wrote this. It was like, oh, okay. And like this is what I've learned in the industry. When somebody goes, oh, that's because you just said something they did not expect you to say.
Yeah, they're about to escort you.
They were about
off.
to escort me to fuck off. And so it's like, and I've been out here for about 7 years, and so like I've background acted and done stuff like that. Being on set as a background actor and being on set when you wrote the shit is completely different. Very different experience.
Wow.
I'm walking around like I own the place. It was so fun. Everybody was so nice to me.
Do you want a coffee?
Yeah.
Would you like a chair?
Everything. It was like people walking up asking somebody else, "Is Niles okay?" I'm like, "I'm right here." Like,
Bro,
this is
that's
crazy.
wild. See all the shit I missed? I want somebody to ask if I'm okay.
Yeah.
Because they might not know if, like, you don't want eye contact, you don't like people to speak directly to you. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Things change.
I had PAs like asking me, like, "Can you be my reference on this?" And all this
That's
kind of
tight,
like, dude,
bro.
I'm younger than you. I don't know if I can do that. Like, but it was so fun, and then just getting to see Dave like do the dialogue and play it out, and it was such a cool thing. And then the director of my episode killed it. So
That's fire. Which is important. Quick question. So when I was writing my Flatbush episode, when I opened up the document to write, for a second I had to pause and be like, "Oh fuck, bruh." Like I'm writing. Like, did you ever have a moment when you were writing?
I didn't do it till when I was done. Cause I just was like, I'm about to show these niggas while I'm here.
So me it was different. I opened that shit and I was like, all right, man, oh shit, they're gonna say this shit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I had to trick myself into, nah, bruh, like act like this is just some shit you ain't getting paid for.
Yeah.
And then it worked. But for you was like, oh, I'm gonna show these motherfuckers.
I gotta show
That's
them.
because you young, bruh.
Yeah, that's right. He's got that confidence. You know what I mean? He hasn't been broken over and over and over again, decade after decade. You know what I'm saying? Like,
For real.
I'm so jealous. Just like, he's not dead behind the eyes. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like, because you turn into a vampire, right? So like he has a life force.
yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he does.
funny.
He
Yeah.
does.
God, it's like, look at even the way he smiles. You know what I mean? Like, I'll never
It's happiness.
smile like
It's
that
joy.
again. You know what I mean?
He has decades he can fuck around. That's the difference. That's the smile. So it wasn't until the end.
Yeah, when I emailed the first draft off, I was like, whoa. This is the thing I wanted to do since I was 19 years old, and I
Which
just
was
sent
5
it, and I
years
just
ago.
sent it in. Funny. 8.
This is what happens when you get two fucking comedians.
Right.
Actually, it's 8 in 3 months. But go ahead.
Yeah. But it was crazy, man. I
That's dope.
couldn't believe it. And just like going on set and like them giving you like the thing to wear around your neck and
The laminate.
And then I had like
Did you have a chair with your name on it?
Yeah, I didn't have a chair with my name on it, but they had a chair just for me, and then they had the thing where you listen to the like you listen to it, and they had my name on the mic and stuff. I was like, this is crazy.
You know what's funny about all of this? Is motherfuckers who've been writing television for 10 years don't even care about this shit. Like they probably
don't.
walk up to set like, where's my fucking mic? Where's
Yeah,
it? Like,
no,
they don't-
I saw it.
Oh, my name's on the side. Great. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
It's so hard to imagine it ever getting old.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, because we're new.
Well, new and old at the same time.
Which is the way I like it. Though.
Yeah.
Now, was the director of your episode a repeat director for Dave, or was this their first Dave episode?
Good question.
I think he did direct some episodes in season 2, but he directed my episode in the finale this season, so he did 2.
That's dope.
Yeah, he killed it. Like if I ever sell something, I want to work with him again.
Wow.
That's a good thing about this game also is like the idea of like working with people and being like, I want to work with them again.
Yes.
And it works both ways too.
Yes.
Like a lot of the jobs that you end up getting is like from people you worked in a room with. They'd be like, oh, I want to fuck with him on another show.
Yeah, because the other stand-up comic in the room, his name's Binyam, very funny writer. If you watch the show, he wrote the Kareem episode.
Oh, that shit was hilarious.
Yeah, he's great, and he was the only other stand-up in the room, and he said Dave called him and asked him about me.
That's tight.
And he was like, "Yeah, Niles is funny." So like that was kind of like the last little person. So you know, you gotta don't be a dick. Like it's kind of like
At the end of the day.
at the end of the day, be talented, but like don't screw people over. You know.
So what's interesting about you, bro, is like usually we ask like, do you have any advice? But it's like, I don't know how the fuck you ended up getting where you got to. So let me let me ask you. Like it's like do you have any advice that you can get? Because we were just talking about grad school, right?
Yeah,
Earlier.
fuck
and like
that.
how I got rejected. So like I think one thing that happens, Mel, not for you, but for like me, was like I was getting older. And so my parents were like, I think you should go to grad school. Like, you know, because that's the shit they think. Yeah. And so you end up entering grad school. And then I got rejected from like USC, NYU, LMU, all these schools. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's like, I don't need a fucking master's degree in screenwriting. I mean, unless I want to teach screenwriting at Laney College, junior college, or some shit like that, or, you know, Compton High. But I'm wondering, what advice, like if you had to start all over, or if there's a hungry screenwriter that's coming up to you, what advice would you give them?
Listen to people that are doing what you want to do. If they're not doing what you want to do, what are you listening to them for?
That's a good point.
God, that's so wise.
He's so wise as a young 22-year-old.
I don't know. I just growing up, all I would ever hear from my family was, man, I wish I would have did that. I should have did that. Like my grandmother told me the story, my dad's mom. So my dad's family it lives out here in California. They live in the Inland Empire area.
Yeah, the IE.
Yeah, and my dad went to UCLA.
Okay.
And so like I have a lot of family out here. And so my grandmother, she had my dad around like 18, 19, and she had a cousin that was he wasn't like a big time actor, but he was one of those actors that would work. Like he would be in an episode or two of a show every night, like every year. And he was a black dude. You know what I'm saying? This was back in the 70s. And so he told her, he's like, Nettie, you need to come down to LA. I can get you set up. You start doing background and you can get into acting, blah, blah, blah. And my grandmother's really funny, very personable person. And she said, like the whole family was like, you just had a kid. You need to like just get a job, sit down somewhere. You don't need to be doing all that. And she listened to him. And my thing is like, you 70-something years old still bringing up something your family told you when you was 18.
Regret.
I decided, right, I'm never doing that.
Yeah.
Whatever y'all tell me, fuck that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I just had so many people in my family I would just hear all the time, like, I wish I would have did this. And it's like, I was just one of those people who's like, I don't ever want to say I wish I did anything. I want to at least go do it. If I failed, then I failed. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how I've always looked at it.
I agree. That's dope. Specs. So we both wrote an Atlanta spec.
Yeah. And that was my first real script.
Oh, that was the first script you wrote?
That was like the first real script I wrote.
What does Atlanta mean to you? Because I'll tell you what it means to me. But like when Atlanta came on, like, do you? Because it's funny. Because I often be thinking like, would I be wanting to write TV if Atlanta didn't come on?
I don't think I would.
Right. So what was Atlanta to you though?
Because I was 21, fresh out here in LA, from the South. You know what I'm saying? And like I was a Childish Gambino fan, so it's just like he's making a show. This is crazy, and then it's actually really good.
Right.
And when you're from somewhere like I'm from Mississippi, like seeing all those characters on screen, I'm like, I know all these people.
Yeah.
This is so cool. I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy TV shows, but like Atlanta was something I could like live in, you know, and rewatch over and over and over again. And so I was just rewatching the episodes and watching them. And I remember watching this interview where he was talking about how the reason Tina Fey hired him on 30 Rock is because he had a Simpsons spec script. He wrote at NYU.
Okay.
And since he was at NYU, his professor was friends with Tina Fey. So the professor sent this to Tina Fey and was like, yo, you got to check one of my students out. I think he could really do this. And so at the time, they needed a diversity hire for the show. So they hired him to write for the show. And I was like, okay, if he wrote a spec script of a show he really liked and got on, well, I should write a spec script of his show, you know, and hopefully he can see it one day. So I just wrote it and I sent it around to some friends. They're like, yo, this really feels like the show. And like at the time they were doing those fellowships, like HBO had one, Warner Brothers had one. So I sent it in to all those and I didn't get in. Yeah. And I was like, what? How did I not get in? This sucks.
Bro, listen.
And then
I applied 4 years in a row.
Yeah, I did it every year. And then he had the Deadpool cartoon he was doing at FX.
And he leaked the script, which was fire. So, you remember that?
Exactly. So he leaked the script. He tweeted it page by page.
Yeah.
And I was mad I didn't get into those fellowships. I said, all right, I'm going to do that. Yeah. So I tweeted my Atlanta script page by page. And that was like my first real viral tweet. And Roy Wood Jr. on The Daily Show saw it. Yeah. And he DM'd me and hit me up. It was like, yo, I got a special coming out. I want to do some sketches for the special. Could I hire you to write them with me?
Off a fucking tweet of your spec?
And that was my first writing job.
God, I've done everything wrong in my life. Just like the more Niles talks, the more I'm like, it's too late for me. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can't go back and start again, you know?
She's too funny.
Wait a minute, you have a Twitter. Like, if you want to write an Atlanta spec, by all means, and tweet it page by page.
I'm tweeting like, does anybody want to adopt this dog? They're gonna put it down in 2 days.
Oh
no! Oh my God, that's hilarious, but that's also super dope and creative. And in reality though, I do agree. Like when I came out of the UCLA program, the fucking head of the program was like, "Don't query managers," and I did it anyway. And I ended up getting a manager through querying. I remember.
Yeah, what manager he got?
Man. You know what I'm saying?
I tell people all the time, I was like, why are you listening to people that ain't doing what you doing?
And I feel that program owe me money. Like, I had people DM me saying, I'm taking this program. And shout out, they need to pay Steve Canals too, because he's the reason why I went. Which I tweet him. I said, you're the reason why I went to this program. But like now people are DMing me about, I'm the reason why they're going to that program.
Let's put them on our sponsor list.
Yeah, but UCLA writing program, we're looking for sponsors for Two Writers Talking Shit.
And a promo code for our listeners.
And a promo code for our listeners.
For sure.
But I like the idea of not giving a fuck. It's almost like you got a night. And this is what I feel about comedians. Like, y'all literally don't give a fuck. Like, the fact that y'all walk up there and stand on fucking stage.
It's stupid.
And, like, talk to us and try to make us laugh. Like, we don't even know who the fuck y'all are. It's, like, absurd.
I was telling somebody the other day, it's like, think of the funniest things in the world. It's like a baby farting, somebody falling, an animal doing something crazy. That's like the stuff that's funny is because you didn't expect it.
Right.
We really think in our minds, we're going to go up there and the context is they know you're supposed to be funny and I'm supposed to make you laugh, and then you still make these people laugh. Like, that's insane. Yeah. As a concept. I don't know why we do it. Something is wrong with all of us.
No, I mean, you have to be so deeply disturbed.
Yes.
Something has to be so wrong with you for you to want to do it. Like, that's why it's kind of terrifying. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really hang around comedians. Like,
I've hung around comedians less and less over the last couple
because
years.
it's like, I'm like, what am I doing? You know? Like, I want to have a life. Like, I like nice things, you know? Like, it's crazy because I remember I was so dumb. I'm so dumb. But like, I remember like going to open mics like when I first started, which don't ever go to an open mic. You'll immediately want to quit. Like, it's horrible. And like the kind of people that are going to open mics, like, and I would like
scum of the earth.
I'd get dressed up. I'd like do my makeup. Oh, no. You know what I mean? I'm like going down to some horrific location. I'll probably get attacked. You know, probably by a comedian at the open mic. You know, on my way to the car.
Yes.
You know, I would go in there, you know, I'm waiting like 2 hours, like, because I don't know. Might not even get up. I don't know the host. I'm dumb. I'm dumb as shit. You know, and it's like people would get up and they'd be talking about how, like, they live in their car. You know what I mean? And all these men just talking about, like, jerking off. You know what I mean? And
people admit to crimes and shit.
People admit to crime, horrible crimes. Wow. And you're like,
yeah.
It's just awful. And it's like, I just was like, I have nothing in common with these people. These are people on the fringes of society. There's no place for them
for
here.
Me, it was the opposite because like I moved here and I was 20 and like I ain't really been nowhere and I was like, yo, these people are freaks. This is fun. And I wasn't even good at comedy. I was just going because I'm like, I wonder what Crazy Steve gonna do tonight.
Wow.
I can't wait.
Crazy Steve.
But I remember like I can't remember dude's name. This dude looks like he's 173 years old, and he would just carry around 3 grocery bags everywhere he went. And like he used to be a big time lawyer, like in the 80s, and then he had like a big head injury and woke up, and he was like, "I wanted to do stand up."
Oh no!
Wow!
And he just threw his whole life away, and he just would just go to open mics. But he was like, he wasn't funny, but the fact he was doing this was funny. Yeah. So we would just be in the back just laughing because he was just crazy. And I was like, this is fun. Like, I don't care what I just like being around these freaks. Right. And I would just go to all these terrible places. And then eventually I just actually got good at comedy, but I was really bad at first. But I was just having so much fun. So I was 20. I'd never been anywhere.
Let me ask you this, though. Because there is this, you bring up a good point, which is like, you feel like you weren't good in the beginning.
Yeah.
But you were ignorant enough to just keep coming, right? Which I do feel like you got to have some of that, like young and dumb. It's like Kendrick had a song, "Ignorance is Bliss," right? And so, do you actually think that you have to have some talent, or do you think that like you, and this goes for stand-up and for writing, do you feel like you can just write, and you'll get better over time and you'll be able to do, or do you feel like you have to have some kind of talent?
I think it's a little bit of both. I feel like stand-up more than anything is just doing it a lot.
Okay.
Like, I feel like it's one of those things where you just really have to get the repetitions and really get on stage a lot and put in the hours. You can kind of, there's some people that are just naturally funny that are just going to be funny regardless. But even with those people, they fizzle out after a couple years because they get a really good, funny 5 minutes. And then after that, they can't really come up with anything because they're not putting the work in. Yeah. But like most of the people that are like these famous comedians is because they just like did it for 15 years and then eventually got a spot somewhere, you know? So I feel like it's one of those things. Like you can't really teach yourself to be funny, but you can teach yourself to be good at stand-up. Like there's people that are really, really good stand-up comedians, but you wouldn't say like, man, he's the funniest person ever, but he's a really good stand-up comedian, you know? Yeah. So.
But let's be clear. Most people are never going to get better. Most people should quit. In fact, if you're hearing this right now,
there's too many comedians.
This is your sign. You're not going to make it.
Yeah. There's way too many comedians.
Yeah. Now, so how did you meet your current representation?
Okay. So, I put out my first stand-up special, Girls Don't Twerk the Jokes. It went viral. And so, I got a very big woman audience from that. And there's a woman online that found me, and she thought it was really funny. And she DM'd me and was like, hey, do you write scripts? And I was like, yeah, I do. She's like, well, I went to college with a friend, and she's an agent at CAA. Could I send like a script to her? And everybody has a friend that works at CAA. So I was like, sure, lady, whatever. And so, yeah, I sent her this script and that I really liked. And a film that I wrote about my hometown, and she sent it to her friend. And like literally 3 days later, I got a call from a random Beverly Hills number. And it's like, is this Niles Abston? And I was like, yeah. It's like, oh, this is CAA office. We have so and so for you. And I was like, okay. And then she's like, hey, could we hop on like a Zoom call? I'd really like to talk to you. And then yeah, I had a Zoom call with CAA, and then they signed me like right before my birthday at 2021.
Congrats, but newsflash, I just realized you're at CAA, bro. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm there too.
Hell yeah.
All right. Oh, well, then we working anyway. All right. So another thing, just on the comedian side, I always think about how Chris Rock was in New Jack City as a crackhead.
Pookie.
And yesterday his special came on.
Yeah.
And when I was watching it, I was like, damn.
Came a long way.
Like, and then you think about like Jordan Peele was doing
Mad
sketches.
TV.
Yeah, nobody.
They didn't even want to let him on the show.
Nope, no, exactly.
Him and Keegan Michael Key auditioned at the same time, and they only hired one of them, and then they brought Keegan on like later that season. Yeah, they didn't want to have two black people at the same time.
And now he's one of the biggest directors in the game
ever.
So in reality, it's just like,
you never know what somebody's capable of.
Never fucking know.
You got to give people shots to do that shit. Because like even with like Chris Rock, like none of that would have happened. Eddie Murphy made Hollywood put him in stuff. Yeah, he was just like, well, I want this guy to, because, and it's funny, Chris Rock. The crazy thing is, he got picked by Eddie Murphy basically just by showing up, man. Like he was like 20, 21. He would go to the comedy clubs in New York, and this one club would let him go up for 5 minutes if he like put the chairs up. Yeah. So he was there helping put the chairs up, but he wasn't gonna go up. Eddie Murphy came in that night, and he just wanted to see some comedy. And he asked the dude that was running the show that night, he's like, y'all got any black comedians? And the dude was like, fuck. He's like, shit.
Yeah, we got one in the back.
Exactly.
We got a mop in the bathroom right now.
Hey,
Chris.
Right. Because he literally was like, I can't sit here and tell Eddie Murphy I don't have no black people up here. Shit. And so he was like, he literally asked somebody, he's like, is Chris back there? Yeah. And it's like, put Chris up. Yeah. And Chris Rock went up there. He said he did fine. He even told the street, he's like, I didn't kill it or nothing. He's like, I did fine. And then Eddie was like, this dude's 20. He's going to be good eventually. Yeah. And so he just kept giving him opportunities. And I think they put him on the Joan Rivers show, and he killed it.
And all of that comes back to the point of you got to put the hours in.
You have to.
You got to put the work in. And I do believe you can get better. All right. Top 5 comedians that influenced you and why?
Red Fox.
Why?
He doesn't give a fuck.
Yep.
And like he was my granddad's favorite comedian. So like we would watch Sanford and Son all the time. And then I listened to his stand up. I was like, yo, this ain't Fred Sanford. This is crazy. So Red Fox. I would say Chris Rock would be 2.
Why?
Bring the Pain was the first comedy special I ever saw.
Okay.
I was 6 years old.
Fire.
3.
Way to make some of our listeners feel old, but keep going.
My bad.
Nigga said, I was 2 years old when watching Chris Rock. Go ahead.
Cat Williams.
Yeah, bro. He had a run, didn't he?
Man.
Them DVD. I was working at a shitty record store. We used to sell out.
I already know.
Like it was the place where all the people would get high and then come into the and they buy man. We couldn't keep.
He's
an
underground
Cat
king
Williams.
of comedy, man.
Yeah.
He put himself on.
Yeah.
It's crazy with Cat Williams. So like in middle school, I kind of got bullied a lot.
Yeah.
And so I would come home basically, and I would just listen to Cat Williams like all
That's
day,
tight.
and it would like make me forget about school. And so Pandora had where you could listen to stand up.
Yeah.
Because my mom, church lady, she didn't like me listening to like watching like dirty comedy.
Yeah,
So I would just
it was
go
devil's music.
So I would go in my room and listen to it and close the door. So I know Pimp Chronicles word for word because I would listen to it every single day. So he's third. So I said, what?
You got 2 more.
So I said Red Fox, Chris, Cat. I'd probably put Wanda Sykes 4th.
Ooh,
I love Wanda Sykes.
nice. Why? Let's get to it.
Wanda Sykes, she has this perspective that only she can give, and I love comedians like that. Like she's a comedian, like you don't know what she's gonna have on this topic because like other people may have used the topic or beat the topic to death, but then Wanda Sykes will come in and like give this fresh perspective that you never would have even thought. And she she's a big reason Chris Rock and Dave are as great as they are. She did that, and she wrote on the Chris Rock show.
Yeah.
She would get Dave Chappelle in the comedy clubs when he was really young and stuff like that. So she's kind of a building block in comedy. And then last, you got to go Richard Pryor, man.
Yeah. Why?
He's the Michael Jordan of comedy.
Yeah.
Because it's like okay, you can say there's comedians that have surpassed Richard Pryor, but they wouldn't have done it if there wasn't a Richard Pryor, and Richard Pryor didn't have a Richard Pryor. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
He had Bill Cosby, and he tried to be Bill Cosby.
He did.
And they were like, that ain't you. You got
Bill shitted on him too. I read a book.
And that's when Richard got big, he shitted on him.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why Eddie Murphy did what he did on the Mark Twain thing when he made fun of Bill Cosby and stuff. But yeah, 5 is real short. But yeah, I'd say Richard Pryor's 5th because for me, he's just such an influence. I'm just like I think he's the most vulnerable comedian of all time. To burn yourself up because you're addicted to crack and then come and do a whole 20 minutes on it when you got niggas these days that cheat on their wives and then can't even do a joke about it on TV when they get a special. That's amazing.
He's super vulnerable. All right, last question. 3 things you're listening to or watching right now that you love.
3 things I'm listening to.
I would like an album from you.
An album.
Because he's young. Like some of the people. What are the youngsters listening to?
3 things that I'm listening to. Okay. Well, there's a music group I really like. They're not dropping an album. They haven't dropped an album this year, but what they do is they're dropping 4 new songs every week. And they have a playlist with all the songs. Bungalow Collect, they're like next up. Like it's ridiculous. Like every time somebody sees them, they're like, I'm watching like the Beatles right now. They're crazy. It's a rap group, 4 guys. They're amazing. Vince Staples, I think the last 2 albums he dropped are just ridiculous.
Yeah, he's raw. He got a show coming out.
Yeah. I turned down an audition for it because I'm just too big of a fan.
I'm in my Sony deal, so I couldn't do it. But somebody approached me to be on the show.
It's such a. I'm excited for him. He's so talented. So let's see. Yeah, Vince Staples' last 2 albums, and then I'm still bumping this new SZA album, dog. It's good.
Shit is fire.
It's good.
That shit is fire.
Yeah.
What are you watching? Any 2 things?
What am I watching? Snowfall.
Yeah, there we go.
Shout out there last season.
Yeah.
I've been watching Snowfall. And then I just kind of been going back watching like old movies too.
Good.
Like I need to go back and rewatch Paid in Full.
That was classic.
That was such a good movie.
I own that on DVD.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's funny. DVDs.
You was alive when DVDs was out, right?
I was.
All right.
I was there for the DVD peak. Yeah, I need to rewatch Paid in Full and then
Classic.
What did I watch the other day that was so good? I forget. There's a Korean film that everybody needs to watch called Decision to Leave. It's so good. It's one of the best films, like cinematography wise.
Okay.
Oh my god, it's amazing. It came out last year. Everybody needs to go watch it.
Fire. There's a movie on Netflix, Athena.
Oh,
probably some of the best directing
fire.
I've seen.
He's a music video director.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing.
The No Church in the Wild music video, Jay-Z and Kanye.
I want to work with
He directed
this
that
dude.
video, and a lot of that concept from that video is what made that film, because it's like a fictional like French Revolution. It's amazing, and the whole film's in French.
There's a one take in the beginning.
Oof.
Man, I ain't never seen no shit like this in my life.
Yeah, you could tell like this dude was like a music video director. Like he really did it.
Yeah.
Niles. Do you need an assistant at this time?
I do.
Where should people I'm using people. Where should people send their CV?
DM me on Twitter
Okay.
Yeah.
All
What's
right.
your Twitter?
at Niles100.
What's the name of your special and what's your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is just Niles Abston.
Okay.
And my newest special is called Household Name. Please go watch it. I've heard it's funny. So
It is very funny. Look,
Thank you.
We're watching Dave. We're watching the new season of
Please
Dave.
watch
I
the new
can't
season
wait.
of Dave.
I can't
Yes.
wait for that.
Episode 8 specific. If you don't watch the whole show, please watch episode 8 when it comes out. I co-wrote that with my homie Trevor. So go
can't
watch
wait.
that shit.
I can't wait.
And tell him to drop a fucking album, man. What the fuck? Tell Dave drop an album. Like I'm tired
Everywhere
of,
I go.
I wanted to ride to that song, the breakup song. You know, with the auto tune shit he had at the end.
That might be the only thing I didn't like about working for Lil Dicky is his fans.
Oh.
Because if I tour the country and like I'll go do comedy shows, after every show, some drunk white guy. So like, is he gonna drop an album?
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, I don't know, dude.
Him and Frank Ocean
Yeah.
and Rihanna. Well, look, thanks for being on
Two writers.
Talking Shit.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Bye.
Two Writers Talking Shit is an original podcast created by Melanie Mars and Saeed Crumpler. Our producer is Kayla Guess. Our audio engineer is T. Kelly.
Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you damn well please. All we ask is that you subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and give us a glowing review.
If you're not going to give us 5 stars or any glowing reviews, then why even log on? Save your rants for an open mic.
If you have any questions for us, and I do mean any, you can email us at twowriterstalkingshit@gmail.com. That's the number 2, and then writerstalkingshit@gmail.com.
See you next episode.
Bye.